listening to the Nancy and Newman radio showgram.
How are ya?
How are you? What's going on? What's happening in your world?
Well, I live in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, still, I haven't moved, but things changed a little bit in your world. Where are you now?
Things have changed a little bit in my world.
Yeah, why don't we step back a couple of months and fill everybody in on what's going on with you?
So, well, we can go back a couple of years if you'd like.
Okay,
We can
let's do it.
For those of you who still listen to Bob 94.9, you know the Nancy Newman show never came back, and they moved me to the afternoon position, which was fine, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't.
No.
It just from that moment on, I felt the station had changed. I felt the atmosphere had changed. I tried my best to keep things afloat, and it just didn't work out. Eventually, fast forward a couple of years later, they offered me an opportunity to stay, and again, I just didn't feel comfortable with the offer that was presented. So I made some changes, kicked it back to them, and they were not comfortable with the changes I made. So one thing led to another. We agreed to disagree, and that was that. So I could not come to an agreement on a new contract, which left me on the outside looking in. They decided to go in a different direction. I decided to go in a different direction. And that's essentially what ended up happening.
Right.
So with that being said, I needed to figure out what that direction was going to be, where I was going to go. And I really wasn't sure. I had a few different options to look at. And I did. I looked at a place in Peoria. I threw my hat in the ring.
That sounds cold.
Yeah. I threw my hat in the ring for a couple of places that I really wanted to go. And I was hoping something in Houston or Tampa might open up.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And then there was a place in Fredericksburg, Virginia, that seemed to show a little bit of interest. And everybody that I spoke to, super kind, super nice. Rochester, New York came calling, but a lot of the jobs, they were radio jobs, but they weren't necessarily what I was looking for.
Right.
So I had a lot of thinking to do. I applied for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their marketing department, and I think also for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And eventually I did get the rejection letter saying, yeah, we're going to go in another direction.
But I'm right here because you were living in Pittsburgh at the time.
Yeah. So what ended up happening there, once the morning show went away, we were not allowed in the building anyway, for the most part. You know, it was it was encouraged to stay and work from home, and we had the technology to do that. And if you remember back in 2020, the housing market was just incredibly on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the boys were grown up and ready to move on with their lives. So we accomplished our mission there. We were able to basically, we were lucky enough to raise the boys, and we were lucky enough to get them through high school, and we were lucky enough to take advantage of the housing market. And I figured, well, I could work 20 miles away from the radio station or 220 miles away from the radio station. It's all the same internet.
And honestly, you never missed a beat. You know, I mean, I knew. When did you guys really kind of bug out of town? Was it like April?
We put the house on the market. Well, we started fixing the house up in January.
Okay.
All of January, all of February, working on fixing it up. Mid-February, we packed it up and we moved out, put everything in storage. And we were supposed to move in with my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law out in Pittsburgh. They had a sweet deal for us, which ended up falling through. And so long story short, we put the house on the market on St. Patrick's Day of 2021.
Your wedding anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah. 3:00 in the afternoon, we put that thing on the market, and we had 10 offers by 7:00, 10 written offers by 7:00.
That's crazy.
So we picked one, we went with it, and everything closed at the end of April in 2021. And I was gone. I mean, I was physically not living in Central PA anymore. I was living in, to be honest with you, I was living on an air mattress and a futon for the next 10 months until we could figure out where we were going to go. Eventually we found a little ranch house, and we moved in there, and everything was fine. Everything was trucking along. I was back and forth to Harrisburg probably 3 times a month.
Hmm.
I came in and did remotes. I came in and did all kinds of things, concerts,
Sure.
did things in the performance theater.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I was in the building more than some of the people that actually lived in central Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
I even told one of my bosses, I said, dude, I'm the one driving the truck. I'm the one wearing the t-shirt. I'm the one going to the beer remotes.
Exactly.
I'm here. You can say
Right.
that I'm
Right.
not here, but I'm here. Um,
Yeah.
and then, one thing led to another. Contract came up to an end and they said, you want to sign another one? I said, no. And here we are. So, um,
So that
a
was
lot,
2 years. You were
yeah,
here. You continued working 2 years after I was gone.
right.
Yeah.
And then the folks from a company called Seven Mountains Media,
Hmm.
they came along and they said, would you be interested in coming to a little place called Olean, New York? And I
Okay.
said, never heard of Olean, New York. Where is it? And they said, well, it's called the Southern Tier. It's basically the border between New York and Pennsylvania, New York State, upstate New York. And they said, if you do that, go find Buffalo. Everybody knows
Hmm.
where Buffalo is. And then take your finger and goes kind of straight down before you get to the Pennsylvania border. That's where Olean is. And I said,
Okay.
oh, so we're just east of Erie, south of Buffalo, north
Okay.
of Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
So it's a tiny little town. I like to think of it as um, basically Perry County.
Okay.
The whole
Oh,
town reminds me a lot of Perry County.
so that
Um,
would be a nice place to live.
Oh, it's beautiful. The Allegheny National Forest is here. There's a place called Holiday Valley, voted number 6 in the country for skiing. They have
No
a
kidding.
big
And I
billboard out there
know
that
how
says,
you love to ski. You
"I do."
love to
You know what?
ski.
I actually do love to ski. I haven't skied in such a long time. I took the boys to Round Top once or twice. It's just expensive, and I never had the time to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so that's where we are. We found a little place here in Olean. I was trying to stay, be honest with you, I was trying to stay on the Pennsylvania border because that way I didn't have to change my driver's license, didn't have to change the
Right, right.
registration on the cars, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And this was the very last house that we looked at. And Denise was like, this checks all the boxes. And I said, okay, we're going to be New York residents. That's fine. But yeah, I
Yes.
drive 10 minutes and I'm in Pennsylvania again. That's how
Right,
close we are
right.
to the Pennsylvania border. Um,
Hmm.
and the radio station is a monster. It goes almost right up to Buffalo, goes deep into
No.
McKean County in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
But for the most part, these are rural counties, and
Hmm.
everybody is really, really, really spread out, which is not a bad thing either.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
the people have been phenomenal. My coworkers, my employers, they've been wonderful. They've treated me with nothing but respect, and
Of course. Well, why wouldn't they?
well, I mean,
You're a
let's
great
face it,
guy.
you know who you're talking to here,
I do, and I still love you anyway. And a lot of people do. A
right?
lot of people do.
And a lot of people have been telling me that they see you more now than they ever did when we were doing the Nancy Newman show. So, how did that whole thing develop? You decided I'm staying put, and
Oh,
next thing you
oh
know,
yeah. Boom. I'm kind of on television. Isn't that crazy? Like
right?
if ah, well, I think one of the best things that happened was just the relationships that you and I built with people in our town in central Pennsylvania. And the guys from LB Smith said, you want to work with us? I'm like, I don't think I can sell cars. And they're like, no, do some commercials for us and, sell LB Smith. And then, oh my gosh, Linda Johnston, Renewal by Anderson. I mean, we both love her. She loves Newman.
You two are going to get
She's like,
arrested. You two are going to get arrested soon. I'm waiting for the day where it's the Nancy Ryan, Linda Johnston perp walk. I mean, you
no,
guys are together way too much. You need a little downtime, or there's going to be trouble.
we we have so much fun. One thing that I love about the whole Renewal by Anderson scene is just, they work hard, they play hard, they do so much community work. Linda and I, just a couple of weeks ago, did West Shore Meals on Wheels, and it's all funded by people like us, just people that are willing to help out, willing to volunteer. And there's a lady that we rode along with her. She's been volunteering for over 25 years, and it's just, I don't know, there're just so many cool things about it. So Linda and I do a lot of fun things like that. We just did the Remarkable Women, locally with ABC 27, and we do Days of Caring with CBS 21. It's crazy. We have a lot of fun. We
You
do.
sure do. I mean, you guys are everywhere, and I think
Yeah.
that's the cool thing. I think, I had a good friend who had a similar situation in the radio business, because sometimes you get the feeling in the radio business the walls are just literally closing in. The jobs are being picked off, 10 at a time, and
Right.
that means there's a lot of people in the swimming pool and not a lot of places to land.
Right.
But he kind of did the same thing, where he went out and did a bunch of charity events, did a lot of TV,
Mhm.
and then he ended up walking across the state of Washington. And he said there were so many things that he could do to raise money and raise awareness and do charitable things when he couldn't do that when he was tethered to a microphone
Right.
and
Absolutely.
working for a company. But then when he got out on his own, he went and did all this cool stuff and got national attention and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for all different types of
That's
charities.
that's
And
fantastic.
and then the radio companies came knocking back on his door and saying, "Please come back. We screwed up." And he goes, "I know you did."
Now, is he back? This is your buddy Bender, right?
My buddy Bender, he's back. He's been
Yeah.
doing the Jody and Bender on, I think it's 95.7, the Jet out in Seattle. So
Okay.
he does the morning
Okay.
show out there. And he's loving it right now. This is what cracks me up. He and I are about the same age. He just had a baby girl who just turned 2 years old. And
Oh my
I
Lord.
can't even imagine.
No.
I asked Denise once in a while, "Hey, what do you think? Should we go for number 4?" And I get that look like I'm changing all the locks and I'm going to kick you right out.
Let me
You're
guess, and then
done.
she dyes her hair red, so you'll stay away from her.
That's a total Denise move for sure.
Yes, totally, totally. Well, I want to talk about where you've landed, because when you told me the name of the radio station, I immediately looked it up and started listening. And if anybody could be on the perfect named radio station, it's you.
Yeah.
Come on, give it up,
So
give it up.
I'm on 95.7 WPIG, the Big Pig.
And
The
all I
Big
can think
Pig.
about is Animal House. When the girl says, "You are a pig, you're a pig." I'm like, oh my God, Newman is on that radio station. Sizzling hot country. I love it.
That's it. That's where I am. Yep. And it's great. We have a morning show there that's been around. I mean, these guys have combined, and they did the math, over 150 years of broadcast experience between the three of them.
Goodness.
They're right about RJ Harris's age, and
Yeah.
they're legends in this town. They're phenomenal guys. And then I have a lady named Katie. She goes by Lunch Lady Katie. She does our midday show. I do the afternoons,
Okay.
and then we have some syndicated stuff at night with the Taste of Country nights. And then we're bringing Whitney Allen on board to do our overnights. So
Oh, that's great.
that's something new that's going to happen. So it's a small, tight-knit little group of people. Our
Yeah.
office manager, Cindy, has been in this building for 35 years, I think.
Oh my, wow.
She knows where all the bodies are buried.
I bet she does.
And I think
Maybe
she's
one day
already,
she'll show you.
well, she started digging my grave, and she's like, "That's where you're going if you don't shut your mouth and start doing things that I need you
You'll
to do."
be fine.
So,
And by the way, you did a St. Jude Radiothon.
we did.
I
Oh,
forgot about
your light fell apart there.
I think yeah, it might not come back on. Oh well. I'll get closer. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, we when I landed here, they asked if I was familiar with St. Jude, and I said, "Well, yeah, kind of." So
Oh yeah, definitely.
we ended up doing a radiothon, and it was the first time that they did a radiothon in 3 years. COVID really knocked them on their heels.
Mhm.
So to come back and do one out of the box with no side events, because you got to understand, throughout the year, radio stations will do little side events. We've done them with
Right.
the Boo
Sure.
Bash and a few other things.
Right.
They
Right.
used to do something called the Jamboree. They would do kickball tournaments. They would do dodgeball tournaments. They would do all kinds of things. Well, all that got kind of pushed aside, and they just launched with
Right.
a radiothon on its own. So
Mhm.
just standalone radiothon in a town that only has about 20,000 people in the city itself. Now, granted, we
Mhm.
broadcast, all over the place, but
Right.
we raised $62,000. So I thought that was
That
very
was
respectable
great.
to come back out of the chute.
And I
Yeah.
have to tell you, because of course I was listening, and it's hard to listen because I know the stories, and a lot of times we know the families anyway. But when you talk to Bess Atkinson, And what was she? Oh, it was Thon weekend up at Penn
Right.
State.
Yep.
And she was watching Thon because she went to Penn State, and obviously she was a St. Jude patient. And to have her on with you was just amazing.
She didn't
It
know what
was
was going on.
wonderful.
I called
I know,
her
I know.
and I said, "Hey, Bess, what are you doing? Is this a good time?" And she goes, "Yeah. Where are you? Why are you calling me from this number? You're on the radio in 10 seconds." And then boom, we went right at it.
She did a great job. No,
Yeah,
she really did.
didn't miss a beat. She's a pro, 100%.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
yeah, that's the nutshell scoop of where I am and what I'm doing, and things are continuing to move. There's a lot of moving parts. I got here, and they put me in charge of 4 radio stations, and as of last week, they said now you're in charge of 5. They just picked up another one. So,
Great.
and again, I said, do you know who you're talking to here? You want me? I
Come
mean,
on.
I'm the guy who usually gets an intern and sets them on fire. Really, you're gonna give me
They
the
don't know
key?
about that yet. So I do have a question for you. So last Saturday night, we were out. I forget what we were doing, and oh, it was a charity event. It was a songwriter dinner, which is one of those kind of things that I just love. Anyway, you and I love is to find out where the behind the scenes of who wrote the songs for the stars, and it was
Right.
Aaron Barker who wrote a bunch of hits for George Strait. So that was really cool. But we get home and I open up Facebook and boom, there's Newman with the funniest, like you are laughing, and Blake Shelton is giving you this big fat smooch. And I was like, daggone, there he is. I loved it.
Right here. Now, he and I have done this back and forth for the last several years. I mean, you
Right.
and I
Oh,
met
yeah.
Blake back in 2001, so we've known him
Yeah,
for a
right,
little
right.
while. And
Yeah.
this was the last night of his tour. He was in Buffalo. Carly Pierce was really excited. She just got a #1 record. Jackson Dean was there, and we had him almost a year to the day at the birthday bash in Harrisburg the year before. So it was
Yeah.
a good night, and there was radio stations from Canada that came down because I mean you can see Canada from Buffalo. It's crazy.
Yes.
And he was getting ready to walk out, and I looked at him, and he goes, "What?" And I said, "You want to recreate the magic?"
Oh, no, you didn't.
And he grabbed me by my face. He
Oh.
manhandled me. I mean, I was like, "Is this what it's like to be Gwen?"
That's disgusting.
I mean, I thought he was going to give me a little peck, and he was hanging on. That's why I started laughing. And
I could tell. It was just so genuine. I just loved it. It was awesome. And then did you meet Gwen Stefani?
did not meet Gwen. She did not come hang
Okay.
out with the radio people, but she did come out on stage and she sang about 3-4 songs and did
That's so
an
cool.
incredible job. They seem very happy together, and I think at this point he's taking a little time just to go to Oklahoma and maybe polish up his guns and do a little hunting before he launches into his next thing. Because I did ask him. I said, "Are you going to get to keep the chair on The Voice?" Are you
Oh,
gonna...
man, you would hope so.
He said, "You know what? I've asked them several times, and he said I'll even pay for the thing. I want it." And one of the producers came over and said, "Ah, sure." So I think when they do their live stuff, there may be a presentation. That's kind of what he's
Oh,
thinking.
that would be cool. Yeah,
Either
that would be
that
cool.
or they're just working on changing the nameplate on the back for whoever is going to end up sitting in that chair, because it's too.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to do, but I think he's going to get it. I think he'll get the chair.
I think he's made enough money. He could buy that chair and a couple more to go along with it.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
You remember once upon a time we were talking to Matt Moret from
Yes.
is he still in Grantville? I think he's still in Grantville.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I talked to him not too long ago, and he's still at the game commission, and still, yeah. I either I texted him. I don't even know what happened, but we were talking. We ran into each other. I can't remember, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
he's
he
a
and
great
Blake are
guy.
pretty tight. I'm pretty sure
Oh
Blake's
yeah,
kissed him once or twice as well.
I'm pretty sure.
And he said one of the reasons that he wants to continue to do The Voice is because they're just throwing money at him, and he's buying as much land he possibly can in Oklahoma because he knows it was eventually one day for everybody. The sun sets on your career, and he
Right.
just wants to be his own worst neighbor out there in
Well,
Oklahoma.
yeah, but I thought this was his last season. I thought this was it.
It is, but when we talked to Matt Moret,
Oh, yes. Oh,
that was
gotcha,
like
gotcha. Yes.
11 years ago or something.
Yes, that's right. Goodness, that's right.
And that was his philosophy. So I guess maybe he's got enough land that he's met his other neighbor and there's no more
Could
land to
be.
buy.
Could
That could
be.
be the case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I got another question for you. I know you were in Nashville a couple of weeks ago for the country radio seminar, and that's always an opportunity to meet some of the new artists.
Right.
And I want to know who you're excited about, because it's so funny with me being away from radio. sometimes it was kind of hard to listen because it's like, I know everybody. But then, Hannessy would come to me and she would say, have you heard about this new guy named Ernest?
Mhm.
And I really liked him. And I remember asking you, have you heard of this guy? Nope, nope, nope. And now look at him,
Yeah.
he's,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious, who's somebody kind of up and coming, male, female, that we need to keep an eye on?
I like Connor Smith a lot.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I like, I'm going to screw up her name. I think her name is Avery. She's on Warner
Okay.
Brothers. All
Okay.
I remember about her is she's got a lot of poise. She plays the keyboards, and she said a part of her story is she would sing and record her videos. I think this is another girl who got discovered on social media first, and then and that seems to be the pattern. You build
Right.
your audience, and the record label comes and says, "Wow, can we talk?"
Sure. Yeah.
But she recorded most of her stuff in her mother's bathroom because the acoustics are good in there.
Of course they were.
So that's her. I think her name is Avery, and she's phenomenal.
Okay.
She's going to be a star. She's going to be a star. They're telling me we have less than a minute here, so if we end up getting
Okay.
cut off, we're going to start
Okay.
round 2. I'll slap both of them together, and
Okay.
then we'll wrap it up.
All right. I mean, I don't want to, bore anybody, I mean, we haven't done anything like this for quite a while. It's kind of like some of the conversations that we had, just on the phone. I
Right.
think what my biggest fear when I got let go is that, and I remember talking to you about it that morning because remember I had that feeling, and I was like, are we still going to be friends? Do you remember me saying that to you?
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
do.
when something like that happens, we've been working together for 20 years and we've been through a lot. I mean, we were just a couple of weeks short of 20 years working together.
Right.
And I always felt like just knowing how well we work together, and you're my brother, but I just didn't know. I just thought, is it just going to fade away where he's just going to he could just be too busy, and I'm glad you didn't, you didn't.
Yeah, no, we were thrown together
We were.
in the most unceremonious way, and then we were, ended in an unceremonious way.
Exactly. Well, you're so right. Yeah.
So it's kind of bookended.
Yeah.
But when we got together, we had a good time, and
Mhm.
I think most of our success, if that's what you want to call it, was because we were just real with people and honest
Right.
with people. And I think you feel the same way. I wanted our audience to be the third member of the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So I would attribute our audience holding basically the keys to any success the Nancy and Newman show ever had.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I still, oh my gosh. And I know you had told me this when you'd be out somewhere, I mean, there's not a couple of days that go by. A lot more people maybe recognize me now because of, being on television and working with Renewal by Anderson. And they know that, and they're like, Nancy Ryan, like, whatever happened to Newman? Or, oh my gosh, I remember the day you told Newman that you were pregnant. Or, we had lots of silliness. Or I remember when he ran across this, the bridge in the bathing suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
just
remember that too.
amazing.
I think I still have some lung damage from that.
You still have the bikini? Because it was like
I
Steelers
still-
colors.
I do.
Oh,
I have
that's
the bikini.
awesome.
Maybe we'll do
That's
one of
cool.
these, and I'll wear the bikini while we're doing this.
Okay, wait a minute.
Now there's
When
a
you
video
say
aspect.
when you say do one of these,
Mhm.
you mean you want to actually talk more? Like if you really want to talk more and
I mean, there's an opportunity to potentially recreate a slice of the magic, and that way you can listen when you want to, and when you don't want to, you can turn us off. Just like the good
our
old days.
spouses do. No, like Brad was always like, well, I can just turn the volume down or just turn off the radio, and I don't want to hear your mouth running anymore.
Right.
And I know your wife felt the same way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll get a cooler backdrop as opposed to my cable wires hanging here in the side. And
So are you in the basement?
I'm in the basement of this house. Yeah, I'm on, and this is the thing. This whole thing is set up on the bar.
Okay, of course it is.
That is not what the bar is supposed to be used for. I've got
Exactly.
I've got drinking to do on this bar, not conversations on a computer.
Cheers.
For heaven's
Yeah, no
sake.
kidding. Cheers, Newman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But
I'd
I
love
just
to do that.
wanted to get together with you and kind of update everybody because there's been a lot of questions. I mean, the other day I put a video out where I'm standing in the snow and everyone in central Pennsylvania is like, it's not snowing here. What are you doing? Where are
Yeah,
you?
where's Newman? Yeah.
Upstate New York. I'm in the snow belt. I guess we're about 45, maybe 50 minutes away from Jamestown, New York.
Okay.
And from what I'm told from native New Yorkers that we know that no longer live up here, like Bob Reeves, for example, he's like, oh my God, it's just my hometown. You are in the snow belt. You're doomed.
And you know what? What else? I heard from Josh Reed. He's up there in Buffalo,
That's
right?
right. Yeah. I
We used
have
to,
not run into Josh yet, but
well, you need
he's
to
on
give
my
him a
list.
call. I mean, I was doing some work with Big 33. We did it in the Capitol Rotunda, and it was this big announcement, and introducing all the players and the cheerleaders and all that. And and I posted that on Facebook, and Josh Reed commented that he loved, the buddies that they have, the kids with special needs. That it's just such a cool experience. And I said, well, they moved it to Memorial Day weekend last year, and I think 2 years in a row it was on Memorial Day, middle of the day, stinking hot. It was so hot last year. They moved the game, the Big 33 game, over to Bishop McDevitt Field, and now they're going to have it on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, and they're going to start the game at 7. So the sun will go down. It'll be really nice. So, but Josh was saying he might come down for the game. Isn't that cool?
Maybe we should invite Josh to join us on one of these little shindig things that we're doing.
That would be great. Do you remember? Oh my gosh, he came out to some crazy shows with us because he loved Jared Neiman. He loved Michael Ray. And when we had it, what was the name of that place? It was like the old Wanda's. That's Buck Wilds, something like that.
Wilds, yeah.
Yeah, it changed names a bunch of times. Anyway, that Michael Ray show there, because Josh Reed was there, I believe our ears were ringing for days after that show because it was just so loud but so good. But we had some great times with Josh, that's for sure.
I thought we were going to kill Josh. I thought he was going to get fired from ABC 27 because he's hanging out with us a little too much.
Yes, he was. Yes, I remember he rolled into the Irish pub, McGrath's.
Yeah,
he rolled in there. He was a lot of fun.
He was
for sure.
Smiling Josh Reed. I miss him.
Yes.
I miss him. I miss Valerie Pritchett. I miss Tom Russell. I see him all the time on social media.
Me too.
We can invite all these people on
we should
one of these shindigs and just say hey.
No, that would really, really be awesome. And then maybe, I don't know, we could get, I mean, you got everybody's phone numbers. I saw the Aaron Barker. I mentioned this to you when we had a conversation earlier, that he co-wrote Best Seat in the House with Chris and Preston from Locash.
Right.
And he's like, oh man, those guys. And I said, oh, they're fantastic. And he said, yeah, they always say I look like Anthony Hopkins, so, the actor. So, but wouldn't that be fun? Just to even get some friends on. That'd be a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then maybe turn me on to some of the new people.
Absolutely as well. Yeah. Shane Prophet, Shane Prophet, right?
I don't know Shane, but I know his music. I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's got a great story. His story, just to quickly wrap it up. He was out to dinner with a girl, and Chris Jansen and his wife Kelly walked into the same restaurant, and Shane immediately lost focus on the girl. And all he could think about was, I got to talk to Chris. I got to talk to Chris. I got to talk to Chris. Eventually he went up to Chris, waited till like he was done with dinner, introduced himself, turned the manner machine on. And, Jansen, he was impressed with this guy. And he gave him a demo. One thing led to another. And he was opening up for Chris Jansen, he was opening up for Chris Jansen in Wilkes-Barre, I think at the beginning of 2022. I went up to see my parents and I got an invite to go say, hey, and it was really cool.
That's cool.
Then at this past CRS, Shane Prophet performed, and he said from stage, he goes, last year I had my record deal, but I was so intimidated. I didn't want to be in this room surrounded by a bunch of radio people and a bunch of other stars. So I sat outside in my car when this event was going on. And here we are 1 year later, and he's on stage performing, and he got all choked up. And I was like, oh, I'm getting choked up too.
I bet.
Good guy.
That's really cool. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna you'll call me again and we'll do this again. And
we will definitely do this again. Yep. I'm going to try and add a couple of bells and whistles to this thing and see if we can't jazz it up a little bit. Maybe I'll actually get a backdrop of some sort next time. I don't know.
The funny thing is I'm actually in Hannah's room because, she's up at Penn State, and I got Murphy in the back, laying on her bed. It's a nice, cool room. And it was quiet because usually Murphy's on the other side. And then he busted in here right before you called me. So.
Oh, sure. He wanted to know what was going on.
He did. And he did. He's just such a sweet boy. So, yeah, it was really nice to talk to you. Okay. So, where can people find Newman? I guess we can put it out there on Facebook as well, right?
Yeah, I'll put all the pertinent information down here somewhere.
Okay.
But if you happen to be listening to this and you're not reading or seeing any of it, the radio station is WPIG.com. And it's available on the Odyssey app. It's available at WPIG.com. And it is also available on iHeartRadio on the app.
Yeah.
So if you already have the iHeartRadio app, because of a previous program you were listening to, just search for The Big Pig or WPIG and it'll pop right up. I'm on in the afternoon from 3 to 7, Sunday through Friday. And we haven't really launched into the shenanigans again just yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Of
course it's coming. Of course it is. It's you.
The poor people of northern Pennsylvania and southwestern New York know what's coming, but you know what's coming.
Absolutely. Well, it's so nice talking to you. And so I guess, if people, if somebody wants to hear us, let us know. If you like it, let us know. Share it. Tell your friends. That'd be awesome.
And this little shindig that we just did, this is just kind of catch up to get everybody up to speed on what's going on. But when we get together again, it'll be more of what you probably have come to expect from the Nancy Newman radio program. We'll talk about stuff. We'll get into arguments. I'll be right most of the time. Nancy won't.
I'll let you think, and I'll continue to let you think you are. So just like the good old days, Newman. And it's funny because when we first started working together and I found out that I was pregnant, I'll just wrap this up quickly. But I remember, before anybody was doing things from home, I ended up being on couch rest for a while.
That's right.
When we just started working together. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we were in the building together with each other maybe 3.5, 4 months or something. Yeah, and then all of a sudden we were the innovators of work from home radio.
Exactly. And, for you to be in New York and me to be here in Pennsylvania and for us to be able to do this is just pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like the basement sessions we used to have when we would bring the artists on.
Right.
And who knows, we may be able to recreate some of that magic too. I was going to, get all fancy and put uplighting back here. And
nah, not now, not yet. Let's see if anybody cares.
Right? She should.
If nobody cares, not doing it then.
Right. I'm saving on my electric bill.
And by the way, I have to tell you, I have gotten in trouble with Facebook 3 times. Can you believe that? And I was at lunch with RJ the other day at the Healthy U Cafe, and I saw, me, I'm a napkin, I love napkins, right? Okay. So here is what the napkin said. And I thought, I was gonna take a picture of it. I'm like, this is the funniest napkin ever. You ready for this? Because I can't put it on Facebook. Here's what it says. Sorry I slapped you, but it didn't seem like you'd ever stop talking and I panicked. Is that hilarious?
You got in trouble for that? Or you decided not to put it up?
It says slapped.
And that will get you in jail?
Oh, on St. Patrick's Day, I put up the funny little, and I had seen it around. I saw it on the internet, and it said, I'm sick of all these Irish stereotypes. When I finish this beer, I'm going to punch somebody. And that was threatening. I got in trouble. Me, wow. Nancy Ryan, got in trouble on Facebook. And it was my 3rd warning.
You should have went with the meme that was floating around as well, that a family sitting around the dinner table, or the breakfast table, rather.
Right.
And one of the kids said, "Dad, are we Irish?" And he says, "Shut up and drink your breakfast."
Well, see, but there's nothing threatening in there. I think shut up must be okay.
I think so.
But it's the punching, it's the kicking your ass, it's those kind of things.
Why are you so violent? I don't understand.
I'm not. That's the funny thing.
Well, this is the funny thing. Yeah, I have, in our conversations on and off the air, I might tend to get a little violent, a little heated, a little fired up.
Right.
And here we separate, and Facebook's coming after you. They haven't shut me down.
That makes no sense. Well, we'll get into that next time.
Okay,
They'll give me something to look forward to.
fine. Good seeing everybody.
Nancy and Newman.